guys, Kyle Mazer here, kmmphoto.com. We're going to be doing a little bit of a talk about aperture and how the aperture number affects your photos and how different length lenses will affect your photo as well. So what I did was I went outside, I took a couple pictures of my car with two different lenses and did some different apertures on each so you can see what the results are like. We'll start off with the most dramatic effect, which is with the 200 millimeter lens. Actually, it's a 70 to 200 at 200 millimeters. So I'm going to get into full screen here. And what I did was I focused on the front part of the car. In fact, I'll even show you where I focused. At the red dot right here. Right here is where I focused. And if you notice, the rest of the picture, in this area in particular, is all blurry and not in focus. Let's get rid of that so you can see. So you have this area in here not in focus. Now the reason that this is because if you come down here and look at my settings, you'll see that my F number was 2.8, which means that my depth of field is going to be very shallow. So because of this, this part of the car is in focus, but the part in the back is not. If I raise this F number in my camera, you'll see that the rest of the car will start to become in focus. So the next picture I took, I increased my F number to F4. And if you look, we have a little bit more in focus. I'll go back to here's 2.8. Okay, if you look at the wheel in particular right in here, you'll see that it's a little bit more in focus. Here's your 2.8, and there's your F4. So then what I did is I took that and I doubled it again. Here's F8, and you can see a lot more is in focus now. In particular, like this light up here. There's your F4. There's your 2.8. And there's F8. You can see much more detail right in here. And then I jumped it up again. Here's F16. Okay, even more is in focus at this point. You can actually start to see the reflection here, and the reflection is now in focus. Where before at F2.8, which was there, very, very blurry here. Okay, so here's F16, and then I went one more, F22. Okay, reflection nice and focused, the handle's in focus, the back wheel is now in focus. So as you can see, as this number increases, the overall focus, the depth of the focus will increase as well. So let me run through those again for you real quick. Whoa, someone's signing off and signing on. Look at that. All right, so here's F2.8. Okay, let me get that out of your way so you can kind of see what's going on. There we go. F2.8, F4, F8, F16, and F22. So the next thing I did was I took the same lens and I decreased it, went down to 70 millimeters, and took the exact same shot. Okay. Now because I didn't move the tripod, there's more in the frame. Okay, and I'll bring up my focus point again so you can see right where I focused. Okay, focus right here on this red box right here. Okay, here's your 2.8. Here's your F4. Oops, hang on, sorry. I had two shots of 2.8. Oh, there we go. F2.8. Here's your F4. Sorry about that. F8. If you look at the background's starting to become in focus. Okay, here's F16. Even more in focus. And F22. Okay, so if I run through those again for you real quick. Here's 2.8. F4. F8, F16, and F22. Now what you'll notice is that at F2.8, if you look at it, you'll see that more of the car is in focus, and that's because the focal length is much shorter than it was with a 200 millimeter lens. So because it's 70 millimeters, you're going to get more depth of field. Okay, it has to do with the way the angle of light comes in at the sensor. And because it's a shorter distance, you get more in focus. So then I took my 20 millimeter f2.8, and again I kept the same tripod location. Okay, we'll look at our focus point. Okay, right here in the front of the car. And if you look already, you'll see that for the most part, it's all in focus. And that's because we're now at 20 millimeters. Okay. Ooh, let's see. Oh, I'm sorry. This was f22. I went backwards on this one apparently. F22, so everything's in focus. Here's my F16, my F8, my F4, and my F2.8. And even at 2.8, you'll see that for the most part, everything is in focus. And that's because the lens is so short. Okay? So what I'll do now is, just to give you an idea, I will go to those pictures at 2.8 with each lens. So here is the 200 millimeter. And here is the 70 millimeter. And here is the 20 millimeter. And if I go full screen with these, you will see, if you compare the backgrounds, okay, on the 200 millimeter, almost nothing at all is in focus. 70 millimeter, the background is pretty much kind of almost maybe in focus, not really. But on the 20 millimeter at 2.8, it's all in focus. And that has to do with, again, the focal length. So as you're composing your shots, you want to try to decide, what do you want to be in focus. And I think that's about it for today. I hope that it helps you with your shots a little bit. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Kyle Mazer for KMMphoto.com. See ya.